human perspective.
This video came from YouTube.
It's trending on Twitter.
Why is it not on the news?
The Mandela Effect.
Wait, what?
It's the Mandela Effect.
The lion will lie down with the lion.
Come on! I'm starting the show here. We're rolling.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you all so much for joining. Welcome, fellow travelers. We have a fun chat tonight with awakened warrior Reiny Holbrook, and I want to welcome him to the broadcast. How are you doing tonight, Rainey?
I am doing fabulous. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. I'm so glad I could have you on. You have a interesting awakening story, as most of us have our own. You know, we're all on our own path, and it's all interesting. But I thought you had a pretty interesting one too. It's sort of like mine, where you went from religion, and it was sort of a stepping stone into a deeper, more spiritual walk. And
yeah,
so I think that's awesome. You want to give us a little bit of a background on?
Yeah. Well, I was born and raised Mormon, and so, you know, all my life I was taught that religion and especially the Mormon Church was the only truth that there was out there, and that really, you know, being from my earliest memories, I knew that I was here for a lot more than that. I knew that I intentionally came to the earth. I knew that I did so for something that was going to happen. I knew that there was going to be some sort of great event that happened. I had no idea what that was going to be, but most of my dreams, because of the religious, you know, background, were all Armageddon-like. So I would wake up in the morning not feeling very good or very happy.
Right.
You know, the world was going to end.
Yeah.
And so later in life, but you know, I kind of followed that throughout my life, you know, having different experiences. And it wasn't until, and I found that this is very common with a lot of people, it wasn't until I had a very powerful, you might call it a tragedy or you know, a crisis.
A catalyst, I like to think of it.
Yeah, exactly. It was a catalyst. I was married. I was with my ex-wife for 8 years, 4 of them married. We had 2 sons, and then we were going to split up, and it, you know, it shattered me. I was broken into pieces, and it was so much pain that I knew that I had to find more truth. I had to find a higher power, because I knew I couldn't do it on my own.
Yeah.
So, you know, I went to religion, which was where I had left off, and I didn't find it there. It just didn't resonate with me. And so then it was very interesting. I don't know, I've heard a lot of things about a Kundalini awakening, and I don't know if it was that or what it was exactly, but it felt like somebody lit a bonfire right in my sacral chakra, right there around your belly button, and it was just a blazing fire. And the only way to quench it was, I was on YouTube, I was on anywhere I could find information that could lead me to more truth and more knowledge and understanding. That was where I was. And
it's like a spiritual hunger almost.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was powerful and deep. And I mean, I would spend sometimes an entire day, night, just watching, because I couldn't get enough of it. And, you know, I went through every subject possible, and I found a big connection with David Wilcock. I found a lot of truth through David Icke. And I think that everybody has their own little pieces to share. I mean, not just these big people. Everybody listening to this show, everyone has something to share.
Let me ask
They
you
all
this:
bring
when
a
you
piece.
came across David Icke, were you ready for his information? Because I came across him a little too early once, and I was like, "What the heck is all of this?"
Yeah.
Back in like I think
Oh
late
yeah.
'90s or something, and he was talking about
Yeah.
reptilians, and I just wasn't ready. But now I get it. You know, I totally see what he's saying. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a little too early. But I could tell he knew what he was talking about, but it was just too much information at one time. So it's like you have to come across that stuff when it's right. You know, otherwise
Yes.
it doesn't resonate. You know.
Yeah. I think with him there was a lot of other stuff that resonated with me with him, that I listened to that, and you know, I just stayed on the fence like you do,
Yeah.
about all of the other stuff. But you know, as I think that we all receive what we are ready to receive, and we don't usually receive it beforehand. We may get a little taste of it just to see if we're ready, but most of the time we don't get information until we're ready for it. And I've seen, you know, that a lot of things unfold before me that seems like it's been steps and steps. So when I came across him, one thing that really excited me about him was how much truth he was sharing, and how he wasn't afraid to go out and speak the truth and challenge everyone.
Right. Yeah, that's an important part, is to stay open-minded to stuff, because
Yeah.
otherwise religion can sort of be a trap for a lot of people, I feel like, because it
Yeah.
should be a stepping stone to a deeper, more, I don't know, just a deeper understanding of God. And
Yeah.
people feel like if you walk through or you know, sort of progress through religion, that you're turning your back on it, but really you're getting on an even narrower path. You're going even further out on the limb
Yeah.
to find God. And is he really going to break the limb off on you for trying to find a deeper understanding? I don't think so, you know.
Yeah.
That's how it
Yeah,
was
I
for
have
me.
that. Yeah, exactly, for me too. You know, heaven and hell didn't ever resonate with me. I couldn't understand how an all-loving, all-powerful God could send anyone or anything to some place to suffer for eternity.
Yeah.
I mean, you have people that are in prison that have committed horrible crimes that get rehabilitated. So I mean, everybody has beautiful light in them if you can see it. And God, or what I call source energy, can see the good in everything. They don't see the bad stuff, because they know, or she knows the true self, knows
Right.
who you truly are, and knows that you came from that source energy.
Yeah.
And so that would kind of be like cutting off your limb and throwing it into the fire, saying, "Oh, you didn't do a good enough job the other day when we wrote that thing down, so I'm going to go ahead and throw you into eternal damnation."
Right. And it's hard to, you know, when you think about going around and spreading the good news, what's good news about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not.
You
That's,
follow this
that's,
way or you're going to burn forever. That's not good news. That's an
yeah,
ultimatum.
that's. To me, when I hear fear-based talk like that, it's a immediate sign that somebody doesn't know what they're talking about,
Yeah.
because that's just a form of control. You know, you throw out that kind of stuff, especially with an all-powerful God. It's going to put people in a place where they're going to be scared to question anything that you have to say.
Yeah, I was like that for years. I was afraid to,
Yeah,
you know, even
me too.
question anything because of the way religion has you fearful. But, you know, you think of God as a loving parent. You know, I sort of think of him as non-gender. So sort of some of the
Yeah,
elder
me too.
writings are the mother, father, they'll say, because it's like a androgynous higher being or whatever. But I just think of Father God, I'll say Father God, as, you know, if you fall down, he's there to pick you back up again. He's like I would
Yeah.
do to my own child if they fell down. I wouldn't kick them back down, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So from getting into the Mandela effect, when did you come across that information? I always like to talk about that too.
Yeah. Well, let's see. It was, I don't know, how long ago was that when they started talking about Star Wars. That was the first thing that I had heard. Was the Star Wars line changing?
Couple of
because
years.
That
then,
was, yeah, that was a big one for me.
Yeah.
And when I saw that on a YouTube channel, it blew me away. And I thought, there's no way. I mean, if this is true, this is some massive, in-your-face evidence that things are happening and things are changing that most people don't understand. And so I looked everywhere on the internet and couldn't find the original. And luckily, I have the old VHS tapes of Star Wars. And I thought, well, nobody can mess with my VHS tape. So if it's changed, then I know something's happened.
Right.
And I put it in, and it was changed. And
that's trippy,
yeah,
isn't it? When you look at your own stuff that's all dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is. I saw that and I thought, wow.
Yeah.
Now that is one of the most amazing things I've seen in my life so far. History changing. But I mean, you know, if time definitely doesn't exist the way that we perceive it. So I think that the past can change just by the beliefs that we have and hold, and things that we do now can change the past, because I think that everything is actually all happening in the same moment, and we just view it as past, present, and future. But really all we have is now.
Right. Somebody made the comment, not all fathers are like me, but I would say that I would pale in comparison to how father God would treat his child. So if like the one scripture said, if your child's hungry, who will feed him a serpent instead of, or give him a serpent instead of a fish or something like that. And it says, if you're evil, then how much more will your Father in heaven? Now that's in the Bible. Who would hand their child a stone if he asked for bread?
Yeah.
Or what do they say? A scorpion if he asked for an egg. So if I'm evil, like the Bible says, how much more will my Heavenly Father do for me? So, I mean, it's all there. In fact, I found my way out of the religion from just the Bible alone. So I know there's enough there to find the truth within it and find your way out if you're sort of stuck in the whole doctrine of the mainstream church right now.
Absolutely. I think there is too. I mean, there's so many contradictions. I started trying to list them and I got so many that I stopped. And honestly, to me, because I truly believe that there are, other entities, other beings. We aren't the only ones in this big, beautiful universe.
Right.
And I truly believe that there were others that came to Earth that the people at that time probably didn't understand who they were, and they, with what they looked like and with the technology that they had, they very easily could have been mistaken as gods and worshipped, and maybe their writings are some of the writings that are in the Bible. Maybe there was other people that, they weren't so nice, and so they, this guy was God for a little bit, and he wasn't a very nice guy.
Right.
But then, he went off, and this guy came in, and he's going to be God now, and he's a little bit more lenient on us, and I don't know, just speculation.
Right.
But it's interesting.
But I think we have the answers within, so when something resonates, that's why it's really important to really pay attention to your, it's not really feeling, it's more of your spiritual guidance system, that we've sort of been they keep us in the grind within work and 3D reality so that we're not paying attention to that intuition. But it's you'll know when something's right, and to me the whole idea of hell and all that just felt all wrong. It's it felt wrong. I just felt scared to question it at first when I was within the church and stuff like that.
Yeah, me too. I felt like, if I even questioned any of this, I was on my way to hell.
Yeah.
I just need to put all that down and just put my head down and follow. But but I wasn't born to do that. I don't think a lot of us were born to do that.
Yeah, and one of the things that helped me out with that was God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind.
Yeah.
Like, well, if he's not giving me a spirit of fear, he's not the one threatening me with hell if I question this stuff. And then there's
who is?
Right, exactly. Who is? It's man doing it. And it's, like I said, it's clear once you open yourself up to, and even ask the Holy Spirit if you're in church right now and you feel like, you know, I'm, you know, talking for the devil right now or something, just ask the Holy Spirit. I'm not telling you to trust me. Trust your intuition and pray and ask for the truth.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that you'll get it, you know. I did anyway.
Yeah, I did too. And yeah, I'd like to say that absolutely. I tell everybody, you know, don't take my word for anything, because you know, I didn't take other people's word to get to where I am. I studied and I let myself feel what resonated. And there were things that I found that I looked at where there was only one little tiny piece of what somebody was saying that resonated with me, and all of the rest, you know, it just didn't click.
Yeah.
And so, you know what, but I took that one little piece.
Yeah,
and
I get that all the time when I'm watching
part
YouTube.
Of me.
Yep, same here, man.
Yeah.
You've got to pay. You got to turn that internal guidance system on, so to speak, and seek out the truth, because it's all mixed in. You know, it's just a quagmire of information, and you've got to. That's why it's so important to, you know, I think, to pray and meditate and things like that, and to sort of center yourself.
Yeah.
And being the moment and all that. So, what kind of metaphysical stuff have you experienced? I know you experienced your Kundalini awakening. What was that like? And that was after you went through the ordeal with your marriage?
Yeah, which you know, at first I was very unhappy about, until in hindsight I looked back and saw, you know, that was a catalyst that propelled me into a massive awakening. And so I'm very thankful for everything that happens in my life, whether it can be viewed as negative or positive. It's all for the benefit. And yeah, I had that Kundalini experience, and that was, I was sitting on my couch, you know, and I remember I was crying and begging for help, and I just almost instantly I felt this fire just like ignite inside of me, and my whole attitude changed. I suddenly felt I had a lot more clarity. I had a lot more energy. I was able to stay up night and day sometimes, just constantly feeding that hunger of searching for more.
How long ago was this for you?
This has been, let's see, about six and a half years ago.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, before that, I think that, you know, whether we realized it or not, we've all been on this kind of a path since birth. We just didn't realize it until a certain point.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like that for me, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of like you're constantly on that road, and you're awakening more and more all the time, you know?
Yeah. Yes. I don't think there's ever an ending to waking up. I listen to Abraham Hicks a lot, which is, for people who don't know, it is Esther Hicks, who channels a collective consciousness that Esther named Abraham. And the information that she or he shares through Esther is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I always enjoy the knowledge you get off of watching that. And then when I first came across it, like I said, I was in the middle of church, I told you before the broadcast, and I thought it was evil, you know? I was like, what's this about?
Yeah.
She's channeling something? But it resonated with me.
Yeah,
I was like, you know.
So. What's funny is Abraham Hicks really did not resonate with me the first time that I listened to it. I guess I was in a state of mind that I was just not ready for that kind of a message yet. But later on, I came back around to it, and now it all makes perfect sense. It explains so many things that I've had questions about. You know, we are all vibrational beings in a vibrational existence, and what we think, what we believe, and the way that we feel are what determines what we create in our reality. And we have the choice and the power to create anything that we want, to change our lives, sometimes in an instant, but usually it takes a little bit of practice, you know, of holding a certain kind of vibration, because everything's a vibration. So if you can match a vibration of any kind of circumstance or way of life, then it just has to change for you. Your life has to change because you've matched that vibration.
Right. I typically think of it like, because, you know, radio frequencies are vibrations. That's why they call them frequencies. So it's like, at some point, if you're tuned into a certain station, you're going to start picking up that station. It's a different level of vibration, but yeah, it works that same way, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You can't be on this station and expect to receive the songs or whatever they're broadcasting on another station.
Yeah.
If you want to have what's coming from that other station, you got to adjust your frequency, adjust your dial on your radio, and once you get to it, it's just there. And I've used that all throughout my life without even knowing it, and then started using it and practicing with a much more conscious and deliberate way of doing it. And you know, there's been a lot of manifestations that I've had that, you know, they can appear to be very mundane, but when you know that you created that by your thoughts, it's pretty powerful. Just a few nights ago, I was thinking that I wanted something to eat for dinner, and it hadn't been cooked in a long time. And that night, it was made for dinner. You know, I hadn't mentioned anything to anybody. I just thought it for a minute, and thought, you know, I would really like to have that. That sounds really good. I haven't had that in a while. I forgot about it, let it go, didn't hold any attachments to it. And next thing I know, I'm coming out and it's all made and sitting out there, and thought, wow, I created that. I made that happen for me in my reality.
How long ago was that experience?
This was just last week.
Oh, okay. So things are manifesting quicker, like they were saying then, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. That is another thing. Things are manifesting at a much more rapid and quicker rate.
And I think that's been happening for a while. Like, it's slowly been increasing for some time now.
And that's why it's so important to really pay attention to what kind of thoughts you're thinking, what you're believing, and how you're feeling, because how you feel can really tell you a lot about the thoughts that you're thinking and the beliefs that you have. If they make you feel good, you know that you're on the right track. And most of the time you'll see signs like synchronicities. You know, I see numbers all the time, especially when I'm in alignment with my true being. I see signs all the time. I see numbers like crazy.
Yeah, that's
like I see. One of my favorites is the 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll be 12:34.
Yeah.
And I have a few clocks that I keep the time not right on them, so that they can randomly, you know, spit out some numbers for me when I need them.
Yeah, that happened to me. It wasn't on purpose. I had battery problems in my car, so it's forced me to seek through the stations, which I get messages like that, and then the clock keeps
Yeah.
resetting every time I have to reconnect it, and I just leave it. I don't set it, and then I get synchronicities with that. I'll look, and man, it'd be weird. I'll have like it'll be 33 degrees on the temperature in the vehicle, and then I'll look down at the clock, and it's at 333, and I'm like, wow, that's just
Yeah.
or
Wow.
the odometer, you know. But do you get the songs too?
Yeah.
You know, we got that show coming up tomorrow about the music, and man, music's been so powerful with messages, and you don't even have to try, but
Oh yeah.
it's
Yes.
like you just have to pay
Yeah,
attention.
I see a lot of them. Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, I see a lot of messages in songs. I see a lot of truth being told in songs.
yeah,
One of the most recent ones was one by Katy Perry. Can't recall what the song was, but it was I could see so much stuff that she was basically, you know,
yeah. Like I'm
sharing with the world.
I'm Wide Awake was one that sort of resonated with me, and when I was listening to the lyrics one time in the car, I'm wide
Yeah.
awake. That's amazing.
Yeah, and you can, I mean, it's everywhere. If you, like they say, if you have the eyes to see, the ears to hear, then you can find it and you can see it. But not everybody does. And that's okay. I don't think, you know, when it comes to the new earth, for me, I think that it's going to happen in a lot of different ways for people.
Yeah.
I think that for some, it may be a very gradual thing. For some people, they may have many more instant changes. You know, I think it all depends upon what you're ready for and what you've been doing. And but I do see some vast, major, beautiful changes that are coming, that have already happened.
Yeah.
And it's just getting better and better. They try to, you know, the news tries to make everything look like the world's just going to hell, but I don't see that. I see a lot better stuff happening.
I see a lot of loving sleeper cells out there, because you know they only
I
report
do.
on the murderers and the thieves, but there's all these people that's ready to jump in and even risk their own life to save a stranger and stuff like that. But you don't hear about those
Yeah.
people, you know?
Yeah, you don't. Well, it's because, you know, all of the news companies and all of the news organizations are all owned by like 5 people.
Yeah.
And you know, whatever they want to share is what gets shared.
Yeah, they have the term, if it bleeds, it leads. 'Cause they,
Yes,
you know what I mean?
exactly. Right. Yeah. And, you know, for a lot of people, it's really obvious that, you know, they're feeding a line of crap a lot of times. And I mean, just the fact that they show predominantly, if not almost always, negative things happening in the world tells me that, you know, they have an agenda. That's what they want to push, whether it be just for money or something else. They have some kind of an agenda that they push.
Yeah, definitely. And it's hard to believe there's still people out there that trust the mainstream media when they've been shown to be deceptive over and over again, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. CNN, what was it? I believe it was, can't recall, I think it was during a war, and they were caught using a green screen, and they would, in between takes, you could see them laughing and joking, and the green screen back there, and then they'd go to live or whatever, and
Act
you know,
like
the
they're
green
fearing for their
screen would
life.
change. Yeah, act like they were scared for their lives. They'd hear these sirens going. They'd be throwing on their gas masks. Oh, do we got to put these on? Is that the sign? Is that the sign?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And then they stop, and it's like, geez, you guys are some good actors. But it's all garbage.
Yeah, man. It's amazing that, you know, that's...
And it's hilarious to me, though, how they can do that. And then they can come right back out and like apologize for it. Oh, we'll never do it again.
Right.
That was just the one time. and people still trust that. It's just silly.
Yeah, there was another one I saw along those same lines. I think it was what's the one court lady, Nancy something, but yeah, they were supposed to be at two separate locations talking to each other, and you could see the same car drive by or something.
That was hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. You can see the same car drive by in the one screen, and then
the other one, yeah.
Half a second later, it drives by the other one, and they're sitting there talking on their little, with their earpiece, holding it there, being all serious. What's going on over there?
Right.
Oh, well, just look over here. You're standing 10 feet away.
Right. It's amazing that, you know, people don't notice that stuff, you know, while it's just believable. You just trust that. Nancy Grace, someone said, yes, thank you, Maureen.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of her name, but yeah, that was just incredible.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And it just makes you wonder what you can trust anymore. I start sort of look, if I'm watching a clip of the mainstream media now, I'm like, all right, what are they pushing? Because that's definitely not what the true story is. You know what I mean? It's sort of like I look to see what I shouldn't be believing in.
Yeah, you know, there was a time when I used to watch the mainstream media all the time. My mom used to, well, she still does, but she watched it so much that I kind of just got into it. But then after my whole awakening, it just felt, the vibration that I got from it, the energy, the feeling, it was just all so low that I just couldn't stand it, you know?
Definitely. Yeah, I remember you know, having it on or like jumping back and forth back when there was the sniper, the DC sniper. I'm like, man, did he strike again?
Yeah.
And just, you know, being all into that, and who's going to report on it first, and jumping back and forth between all of them to see who was first. And of course, they're trying to be first to report it.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, you can just get so absorbed in that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it can be easy to get absorbed into it, and when you do, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to get out of that, especially if you don't know some of the other things and know some of the fakery that they've done.
Yeah, Mary Quinn saying it's toxic. It is toxic. If you're watching it with a and you're not you know, you have your defenses up, because you should definitely be leery of the information. It is toxic. It's like
it is.
And it's sort of like, once you realize it, you can't go back either. Once you see them for what they are, you're awakened to it, and
you can't go back.
And it all stands out then. That's how it is with the, I don't want to say, I was trying to come up with like a Bible of terms that would keep me from getting strikes or taken off YouTube or whatever. So for the FF word, I was thinking like maybe like a fictional banner instead of So yeah, I was trying to think of, or you know, so I've been working on that, because I think, you know, it's an algorithm. It can be beaten if somebody just takes the time to come up with a whole new set of terms that people understand. And
absolutely,
just like a password, you'll have to change it every month, or you know, because they'll update the algorithm.
Once they catch on.
Yeah.
oh, they're using code again.
Right. But once you've seen one of those, and you start sort of look at things when they come out in the news, you're like, is this one too? You notice stuff right off the bat. You're like, man, they're getting sloppy. It's like, no, you're just noticing because you know now, you know, so it's more obvious.
Honestly, I think they're getting a little bit more desperate too. Well, I really think that they're getting desperate, because I think that they're really sensing that a lot of people are turning to other sources for their news, because people, more and more and more people, are awakening to the fact that you know, this is not credible news, and what is credible is usually only negative, and people don't want that. People want to hear, you know, I want to hear about the good news. I want to hear about the exciting, amazing, beautiful, wonderful things that are happening in our world every day.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit and dwell on, you know, all of the bad stuff that's happening. And when you study the law of attraction, you find that, you know, whatever you put your your attention and your focus on, that's what you end up. I mean, when you do it long enough, you start creating a vibrational reality. It hasn't manifested into your real life and your reality yet, but you start to create that. And the longer that you think that, and the longer that you expose yourself to that, the more it starts influencing lots of different things in your life. And it doesn't, it can come in many different ways, because, like the frequency of, or the vibration of love and happiness and joy, that can come to you, that can come back to you in all kinds of different ways. It doesn't just have to be one way. There's anything that resonates with those frequencies, those vibrations, can come to you. And a lot of times we're surprised by some of the things that manifest into our lives that we didn't even realize we wanted, but then when they're there, we're, surprised and amazed at how it's came.
Exactly. Yeah, and you attract people, you attract, and it
Yeah.
works the opposite way. Most people use it in a negative way, like you're worried about bills, and so
Yeah.
your finances, And I get it, but at the same time, it's sort of, you like get caught in the quicksand, so to speak, when you're just
Yeah.
vibrating with worry and worrying about the future and all that. And it's tough, man. It's because you got to really reprogram the way you think about things.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's, there is all that we see around us. It's very easy to pay attention to what is physical, what has already been created and manifested into our reality. And it's really easy to lose yourself in that and forget to pay attention to the vibrational reality that you are creating right here and now with your thoughts and your feelings, emotions, beliefs. And that reality, that vibrational reality, is just as real as this one. And the more focus that you put on it, the more power, the more energy it builds up until it's like a big snowball at the top of a hill, and it's just rolling down, and there's no stopping it. It's going to get down to the bottom and explode into some amazing things in your life.
Right. So when you were talking about manifesting things just out of pure air, just out of the air or whatever, because I came across that information in the what was it called? The Wingmakers material, where the guy manifested like a ball of yarn or whatever right in front, just to show that it could be done, because it was this, training program in the government. And then she said, well, could you just manifest $10,000 and, or $1 million is what she said, but he ended up just manifesting 10 grand or whatever. And, I can see if we got to the point, it really gets me thinking, well, that's why they're trying to like move away from paper, if people are starting to learn how to do this, right? Paper currency.
Could be, but they'll be sadly disappointed to find out that the law of attraction doesn't really care about what the currency comes in.
Right.
It'll just change it digitally, and that'll probably be even easier.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That would be even easier to just change a few digits in the computer.
Digits, and I'm set.
But I think we're going to be moving away from all that anyway, and
I do too.
So, do you foresee any events coming up in in your meditation time or anything? Do you feel like everyone's?
I feel like we are all. For one, I see a major shift that has already begun. It started long ago, I believe. I honestly believe that the whole 2012 thing was a marker point where past civilizations, and I believe there was, I can't remember if this is the 5th one or if there was 5 before us, that, if you look into some ancient writings, they talk about 5 other civilizations that came before us that reached a point of high technology and destroyed themselves. And with us, when we reached that point where we were on the brink of what could have been us destroying ourselves, it was around 2012, and we moved past that. We decided as a collective consciousness that that wasn't what we wanted. We wanted to stay here. We wanted to expand, and we wanted to love, and we wanted to change the earth and help her to change and be a better world.
And it's sort of like we can create things on our own individual thing, but also as a collective too, as we all start to come together with our intentions.
Absolutely, and that's one thing I would love to see a little more of, is a lot more collective meditations with people. There's been a few studies where they had, I can't remember the exact numbers, but something like 7,000, I think, people came together to meditate for peace in their local area. And the study showed that the crime rate dramatically decreased.
I think
by
75% or something like that. Well, that was a David Wilcock statistic in one of his books, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was amazing. So it works.
I mean, you know, it works. Yes, it works. And it works in your own personal life. See, one of the things that I've done as far as using the law of attraction, I do a lot of visualizations. Basically, I see what it is that I would desire to have, or what makes me happy. And a lot of times it's, you know, a home, a very nice home, but I just let myself completely get lost in it. I feel everything in there. You know, I feel the floor, I feel the hardwood floors and the doors and the windows and the bed sheets, and I just immerse myself into it until I get to a point where I feel inside like I am actually there. And there's no difference between that and what is the reality when I open my eyes. And it creates this feeling of such powerful bliss and joy that when I open my eyes, it just follows me throughout the entire day. Doesn't matter where I am. I know that all I got to do is close my eyes and I can be in this beautiful place that to me is just as real as anything else.
And on some level, it really, in your mind can't tell the difference. Somebody brought up the point that you can think about biting into a lemon and you'll start salivating, and you can smell it, and you'll go through that whole experience in your mind, and your brain really doesn't know the difference. And it's that same way with creating and visualizing and smelling it, tasting it, feeling it, like you're saying. You really go through all your senses and really fully experience it, and that's a really powerful thing. The more that you can immerse yourself into that reality in your imagination, because your brain doesn't know the difference between that reality and this reality. It's all the same to your brain. And so when you can create that in yourself and in your mind, then you can create that in the world around you. And through the law of attraction, you know, those vibrations, those frequencies that you're basically emitting from yourself are going out into the universe, and they're being drawn back to you. You know, like says in the scripture, you reap what you sow. And I think that is a lot to do with the law of attraction, manifesting your reality. Yeah, a lot of times when I'm meditating, I will imagine the earth, you know, just really beautiful and green and filled with loving people, and you know, just imagine it without the elite and all the stuff they're into, and
Yeah.
without starving people, or just everything's just abundance for everyone, and just love, and the
Yeah.
daily grind isn't there. And man, can you imagine if we could just get a large grouping of people just to come together and imagine a world like that, and to watch it manifest right before our eyes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the whole world would change
Yeah.
much quicker than people would even be may even be ready for.
Yeah.
I
They might
think
forget
would
how
have
it
a
was.
major- yeah, I think that would be truly amazing, though, to be able to do that and to get more people in our communities to be able to see the power of our thoughts and meditation and visualization, and know what it can do, and come together for the same purpose of creating a better world.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
we would see massive change very quickly.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And I think we're going to see that, you know. And I've actually still
Yeah.
been doing my
I know we are.
daily meditation, and I said it was through the end of the year, so I really need to update that thing and see if I can get more people on board doing that. I've been
Yeah.
doing it, but forgot to get everybody else to do it. And I know there's group meditations. If all the groups could come
Yeah.
together under at one time,
Under one thing,
yeah, man.
that would be amazing.
Yeah, that's what we need to
Yeah,
figure
we
out
need
how to
to-
do.
We need to get that going.
Definitely, man. So, as far as, you know, what you do to work on your spiritual, do you meditate daily, or are you vegan, or what's sort of your routine that you do?
I've stopped eating a lot of meat. I do still eat meat. I would rather, go even more vegan, but it can be pretty pricey, and right at the moment I can't afford that, but I'm working on changing that. But my cravings have changed too. I crave a more vegan type of diet. I meditate daily. I do those visualizations that I told you about. Another thing that I do that is very amazing and peaceful for me is I do a lot of woodwork. I create staffs and wands, and when I create them, I know that, my energy is flowing into them.
Right.
My energy is going to make an effect on the end result of the staff that I make. And so before I work on them, I get into the perfect frame of mind of peace and, just centered. And then I start carving them and working on them, and the wood I really don't have a plan when I start them. I just let the wood tell me how it wants to look, kind of.
Right.
And when I'm done, I've infused all of this positive, powerful energy into these staffs or these wands that, I give them to other people to hold, and they hold them, and they say, it kind of feels like it's vibrating. And I say, well, I put a lot of energy into them. One interesting thing is I gave one to a radio DJ, and he makes some of his own rap videos, and a lot of them are positive, messages. And he actually took the staff that I gave him, and it's in that music video, which was really cool to see.
That is cool. Do you do other art too? You also do pictures and stuff, right?
Yeah, I do. Well, my computer isn't working so well right now, but I do a lot of digital artwork. I use Corel Painter. I use Photoshop. I do a lot of artwork just on my iPhone using PhotoFox and some other photographic manipulation apps. I used to do a lot of oil paintings on canvas and on Oakley stone. It's kind of like a slate type of a stone. And then pretty much anything that you can think of as art, I've either already done at some point and, you know, moved on to something else, but I just love art. I love creating things. It just, I get into the zone when I'm doing it, and it just, everything flows. And I really feel connected to what I'm doing and to a lot more.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of the people who notice the whole Mandela effect seem to be more engaged in their right brain in creative activities like music or art or just anything having to do with art. You know, it's just easier for them to see, I've noticed.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well, and I think that there's a lot behind that too. You know, the right side of the brain has, it's the creativity center.
Yeah,
you know,
sort of our divine connection too, and our empathy with others. It's what we use to imagine what it would be like to be in other people's shoes. So that whole empathy or empath thing is sort of right-brained, and yeah. So I think that's an important part of it. That's why we see a lot of empaths that see it, because you know they're they're picking up on other people intuitively, and yeah. So I think that's a huge part of it.
And it's not always the easiest thing being an empath. I know that a lot of other people who are empaths can really relate to that. Sometimes it can be pretty rough, but I wouldn't change a thing, you know.
Right. Is there anything you sort of do to pull back when, you know, to sort of charge up again, and or if you're feeling a lot of negativity?
Actually. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's something I wanted to share. I came across 2 apps that I put on my iPhone that are some of the most amazing apps that I've ever found. One of them is called Rain Sounds. The other one is called White Noise. And you can find them on the App Store. They're free. And they have more than 600 plus sounds that you can put on there. And, you know, there's rain, there's the sound of what it sounds like driving in a car, or driving in a car with rain hitting the windshield, all sorts of different sounds that you can put on there. And you can put a mixture of like up to like 5 or 6 different sounds. And I put my headphones on and I close my eyes, and I just get lost in another world. And when I come out, I'm all recharged and calm and just completely at peace.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sort of shut off the world for a while and center yourself.
And sometimes we need to do, well, not just sometimes, I think we always need to do that, you know, quite often. Go just be with ourselves for a little bit.
I think so too, because for a lot of us, we're here really to help raise the vibration of the planet, but if it's constantly pulling us down, then we're not even really doing what we should be doing, I guess, you know. So we got to make sure we take care of ourselves first to be more effective, I think, as light workers or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and there's nothing selfish about that whatsoever. I think that it takes great courage to be selfish enough to put yourself as a #1 priority in your own happiness. Because once you find that place of happiness, then you can, I mean, it just spills over into everything else in your life. And then it spills over into other people's lives, and it's just a chain reaction that just spreads all around you.
Oh yeah, I agree. And that's sort of it reminds me of this video I saw somebody sent me earlier today, where, you know, a lot of times we feel like we have to convince people, but if we just are radiating so much love, people will ask us, "Well, hey, why are you so happy? Why are you so, you know, why do you glow so much? What's your secret?" You know what I mean? And then that's the best way to reach people, because it
is.
Yeah, it really is. And if you think about it, that's how Jesus did it. You know, Jesus
Yeah.
never went, and he didn't have a building for people to come and see him. He went around and people followed him because he
Yeah.
was like a magnet for people. They were like, what's this guy up
Yeah.
to? He's powerful.
What's
He
he
talks to
doing?
the religious leaders with authority, and it
Yeah.
was just, you know what I'm saying? And then think that's
And he knows more than they do.
right. And he actually is, you know, showing his power and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's why I think, you know, I don't go by the title Christian, although that's how I was raised, but I consider myself a follower of Christ. Like, I'm trying to emulate him or go in his footsteps because, you know, technically he wasn't a Christian, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's
Right. And he's the way, so I'm trying to follow him. And, you know,
Yeah.
he said we do the things he did. And, you know, I think a lot of that's missing in the church. You know, we're not told that we can do the things he did. And
Yeah.
that's really the truth of it all, is that we can have a deeper knowledge of what it is to have the Christ within us. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, and that's kind of looked down upon. I mean, if I know that the churches I've been to, if I walked in and mentioned anything about having the Christ within me or having anything like the Christ consciousness or trying to follow that path, they would probably look at me like I was, you know, a Satan worshiper or something, or
Right.
that I had lost my mind. And that's what amazes me is, you know, it says in many places that you can do what I do and even more.
Right.
And it's like people forgot that. But, you know, I think that there are some people that, you know, they don't want people to know how powerful they are.
Yeah.
And every single person is vastly more powerful than they can even imagine.
And that's something they don't want to get out. They don't want us to know that. They want to keep us under their control. So of course they're not going to tell us that. But even Paul wrote that Jesus was the firstborn among many brothers.
Yeah.
You know? So he was like, he's our big brother that showed us the way, and we should be trying to do these things. And, you know, his whole ministry was about love. Even up to the end, dying was all about love. You know, and the people that hurt him, even, he said, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it was always love. It was always really a good news message.
Yeah, it was. It always was.
Yeah.
And you know, see, I've been listening to Abraham Hicks a lot lately. It's really drawn me into it. And she talks about Jesus, and she, you know, because it's Abraham is the collective consciousness that comes through her and speaks through her. And Abraham has mentioned that, you know, the only people that Jesus was able to heal were the people that believed that he had the ability and the power to do that. And the people that did not believe that, they were not able to be healed, because, you know, it's kind of like, I've heard of many people that have had very serious illnesses, and they've been desperate, and they've gone to other countries to seek very different kinds of remedies, and the person could be doing anything, and if they believed enough that what they were doing was going to heal them, it would heal them no matter what the person was doing. And really, it's the individual healing themselves, because they've allowed this to be true. You know, they've allowed this new form of healing to be true and to heal them.
Yeah, and even Jesus said, your faith has made you whole. You know, I mean, he even said that to them. It was actually their faith that did it. You know, their faith in his ability or whatever. And you know what the biggest threat to, you know, the whole, I guess, the institution of the church, or really all religions, is that they have, you know, a million Jesuses running around. You know what I mean? That's their worst fear. So of course they don't want us to know that, you know, we can at least strive to be like him, you know?
Yeah, and they definitely don't want anybody to know that you can do the same things that he did. You can follow that path, and you can be a healer just like Jesus was. Because once you have those people running all around, you know, their whole thing kind of crumbles apart.
Yeah, people start saying, why are we going to church again?
I know Tom down the road, and, you know, he healed this guy.
Exactly. And then I think we're all going, you know, or at least about to go through that whole transfiguration, or, you know, into our light bodies and stuff like that. I'm excited. I don't really know what's going to happen, but I can feel it in the air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. And I've felt it for a long time now. I've felt it for so long now that I've gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, you know, I've been waiting forever. I'm going to stop waiting, and I'm just going to let it happen when it happens. And I'm going to focus on cultivating my ability to create complete, utter peace, joy, and bliss within myself.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, you know, that'll be the icing on the cake.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's an important message for everyone, because I was sort of getting that. It's like, if you get specific dates, then if something doesn't happen that meets your expectations, then it can get you down. But if you're sort of just working on yourself, saying, hey, when it happens, it happens. I've still got plenty to grow, and then it's not so much of a letdown when, you know, if it's...
Yeah, exactly.
That's important.
Yeah.
Because then you don't know. Sometimes I think they put stuff out just to make that happen. You know, they call it hope porn.
I do too.
Somebody said it was like hope porn.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah. Hope porn. Yeah,
just so
absolutely.
that, just so when that date comes, or you know, they said that happened with Nibiru too, Planet Nibiru. They kept saying it's going to come at these dates.
Yeah.
So when it finally, it's that whole crying wolf thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Eventually, people just go, well, this is crap. But you know, some of it may not be crap. You know, and so I think they're doing it for multiple reasons. For, you know, some people are putting out dates, you know, for that reason. That it does cause a massive disappointment when it doesn't happen.
Right.
And then there's also the other factor of, you know, well, after a while, people are going to start to say, well, this sounds like a load of crap because nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. But something's definitely happening. Yeah. I mean, we can see it all around us.
When you see the cosmic scale, or the, you know, as far as time is concerned, you know, even a decade is quick on the cosmic scale. So,
oh yeah,
you know, so it might seem
like
you're
a blink of an eye.
Yeah, it really is. So I think there's always plenty of self work we can be doing, and self growth, and not to get too caught up on. I mean, I'm looking forward to stuff happening too, but I'm content with you know, how things are, and I know things are going to work out exactly like they're supposed to. So I'm not, you know, I don't have any fear or anything like that. And you know, and even the Bible warns us, nobody knows the day or the hour. So
yeah, it does.
So
it does.
Just not to get caught up on that, because think about everybody from the time of Jesus till now thought it was going to happen in their lifetime.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
Yes, it's been coming for a long time.
Right.
And but yeah, like you mentioned, you know, 10 years, 100 years, even 1,000 years, even longer is just a blink of an eye in the scope of eternity. I mean, if we are, see, I believe that we are eternal beings, and, you know, we're here for, you know, I believe in reincarnation, I believe in past lives, and I think that coming to places like Earth it shouldn't be taken quite so seriously either. I think, you know, part of it is the whole fun and enjoying being here in these bodies and experiencing things, you know. And people need to make their own happiness a much bigger priority.
I totally agree, man. And I don't know how many times it happened when I was in a band. You know, I sort of got tired of doing gigs, and it sort of grew old on me. But if I had just, and it was because I had hopes for something bigger for the band. But if I had just enjoyed it for the level we were at, And because I think back at those times as good times, but while it was happening, I didn't realize they were such great times. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I think that's sort of the
exactly.
same thing right now. We're going to look back and think, why didn't I enjoy that more? We were building
Uh-huh.
up to this big thing, and
Yeah,
I was just so impatient, for it to be over. Why?
yeah, yeah. That's and there's something that Abraham Hicks mentions that I really see and resonate with, and that is that we didn't come here for the actual manifestation of whatever it is that we desire, because the whole purpose of manifesting things is that we think that we will feel better in the having of whatever it is. But if you can feel better and happy right here, right now, without it, then it changes things. Then all of a sudden you get into more of a mindset of, okay, well, I know that this thing, I'm going to manifest this in my reality. It's going to come about, but I'm going to enjoy the ride. I'm going to let it come in whatever, small doses, big doses, whatever I'm ready for. You don't go out and eat breakfast, lunch, dinner for the whole week in one meal.
Right.
That isn't very satisfying. It's much more satisfying to spread it out and, get little bits over time.
Yeah, it really is the journey. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not that the manifestation isn't great too, because
Right.
that's great too.
But yeah, and these really are good times. I mean, I see the people in the chat, and it's just like,
There's good
sometimes I wonder
people.
if I'm dreaming. Like, are these really all real people here? It's like all these, I know they are, but because I can feel the love. It's weird. It's like, how can I be here in my own house, but yet I feel the love of all these other people from all over the world sharing a common awakening experience. And man, that's why I love to have people on here, because we've all got our stories, and and I appreciate you sharing yours. And man, it's
I'm glad that I can be on and share.
well, we're at a little over an hour. Is there anything else you want to share before we go that you can think of?
Let's see. Just that you're doing an amazing job. I was
that.
led to you through my intuition. And everybody else out there, no matter where you are at in your life, no matter where you're at and what you think you could do or can't do, you're all amazing, beautiful, powerful beings. And wherever you can find, if you're ever in a time of needing to be reminded of that, you can come to me, you can come to Shane, I'm sure. You can, there's lots of places you can go to, but there's some beautiful things on the way.
Yes, there really is. And Josee is great to talk to, and Scott. I've been talking to Scott Craig a lot, and there's a lot of people that's anxious to do, to be part of this whole awakening process for people. So yeah, if you just I know we got lots of lurkers in here that don't say much, but reach out, because there's people that's just excited to, I mean, think about it. I come on here, I do this for free because I love it. I actually love doing this, and it's wonderful, the people I meet and the stories I hear, and just to be a part of it all.
It's exciting.
It really is. Well, cool, man. Let me make sure I don't have any questions here.
Okay.
And, someone asked if you manifested spaghetti. They wanted to know what you manifested.
Oh, I can't remember what the name of the dish was. It was something that my mom makes. It was it's like a Mexican dish. Has tuna fish in it, corn, and some peppers and stuff like that, and then you eat it with one of them hard tostada or crispy shells.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's cool. Was it like your mom made it and everything?
Yeah, and it was crazy because I was thinking that I wanted it because I was looking for something to eat. I saw the ingredients for it and happened to look at them and thought, you know, it would be really nice if she made that for dinner tonight. And later on, there it was.
Wow.
I looked at it and just went, wow. Yeah, that was...
That reminds me of Angela's story with her
absolute
son.
Manifestation.
Her son saying that, you know, they can make whatever they want. You can even have meat, you know, and it's not really like an animal got killed or anything. And it's like,
yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, even the teeny tiny manifestations, just, they fill you with such immense joy at what you just did. It's like, wow, I made that happen.
Somebody's asking if you're on YouTube. Do you put out content on your channel by any chance?
One video on there of a badly spelled video I did. I had a video recorder or editor for a short amount of time, and I recorded doing one of my paintings, and I put it up there, but it has my name spelled wrong because I lost the free subscription before I could change it. So I have the one video, and then I have a lot of playlists of amazing documentaries, videos, all sorts of amazing information. Everything that I find, I put on there. So
what was your I'm trying to rock art or something like that?
Yeah, ORIG rock art.
Right, I should have added that to the bottom. For some reason, I didn't think you had content, but yeah, I forget about playlists.
I have the one video and then the playlists. Yeah, and then I'm on Instagram under Reiny Holbrook, Awakened Warrior Original, and then I'm on Facebook.
I've actually got the Facebook screenshot up right now, so people can see how to spell Reiny Holbrook. And you said on Instagram, what do you have behind Holbrook?
It is Awakened with a underscore Warrior underscore ORIG.
Okay.
And I use that a lot for putting out my quotes and, you know, just very uplifting stuff that I try to put out on there.
That's awesome, man. Well, it's nice to actually get to talk to somebody and just to hear everybody's story. And I love this whole thing of having people on or calling in or whatever. And yeah, and I knew we would burn through an hour really quick after after I heard about all the stuff that you had to talk about. So
yeah,
let's just dedicate the whole time
I felt
to
it too.
Yeah, it goes so fast.
I think it was awesome that we just we didn't really plan anything. We just got on here and just started flowing.
Yeah,
that's the best way.
Definitely, yeah. Because on the other times I've done it, man, it's like, wow, I wish we were recording that the whole time, you know. And then so yeah, I just go right after it now, you know. Just kind of get a brief summary and then just let's do this,
and then go.
And then let the intuition take over too. So that's awesome.
Yeah. It was an absolute honor being on here. I think we all kind of manifested this night.
Yeah, definitely. Well, 56 people in here enjoying it with us too, man. So
well, that's wonderful.
So lots of love and light to all of you guys out in the chat world there. And once again, Reiny Holbrook, lots of love and light to you, my brother. I really appreciate you coming on. And,
it's an honor. And same to you and everybody out there.
All right, brother. Well, we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
Thanks.